Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video. Today I'm playing RenoJackson's Fatigue, Benedictus Priest on the Wild Mode ladder. Now, this is RenoJackson the Hearthstone player, not RenoJackson the Hearthstone card. Now, there is no RenoJackson in this particular deck. But anyway, RenoJackson the Hearthstone player has piloted this deck on the Wild Mode Legend ladder, and I think peaked at, I believe it was rank 7 on the Legend ladder. That's really impressive. So this deck is based around the Priest quest. You basically play your Death Rattle minions, and then you play Amara, which sets your health total to 40. Now, against aggressive decks, that is pretty much a game-winning play. If you can get Amara on board, you know, she's an 8/8 taunt, your health total is at 40, there's a good chance you then proceed to win the game. Against control decks, it's a bit more problematic. So against Reno Lock, I guess you want to entomb their big demons so that they can't come back to life with Gul'dan. So stealing the Mal'Ganis, stealing a Void Lord is pretty good. Against Big Priest, it's a tad more problematic, I think. You have to stop them from cheating out big minions early. So when they play Barnes on 4, you just don't kill anything. Don't kill anything at all, and then on 6, entomb what came out of Barnes or what came out of Shadow Essence. And then if you can stop them from resurrecting their threats, it just buys you a bit of time, because then all they can do is play their threats naturally from hand from sort of turn 8 or turn 9 onwards. And by that point, maybe you've played Archbishop Benedictus and stolen their deck, and then you can start to match them minion for minion. It's very interesting. But yeah, I would certainly recommend that you read RenoJackson's guide on Hearthstone, which really does explain the strategy and the thinking behind this deck. It's not necessarily an easy deck to pilot when you're going up against control decks. Against even Shaman, things can get problematic. So you've got Shadow of Death in this deck, which is great against 4 mana 7/7s. You've got Entomb, but sometimes the threats can just come out too quickly from even Shaman. You just may not have the answers. In this case, I hadn't even completed the quest, and there were 2 4 mana 7/7s on board. I have 1 Entomb, but there's just too much pressure. This is not a game I can win. So this is a harder aggro matchup to win, just because the scaling of the threats that comes down from even Shaman is just too big. Sea Giants, 4 mana 7/7s, things from below, they just come out far too early. It can just be problematic if you don't have those Shadowware Deaths. Against Big Priest, so Shadow Essence on 6, which is really good for him. I have Entomb to answer it, because I want to stop him from getting that Obsidian statue back. And I have Shadow Deaths, but then I don't want him resurrecting stuff. And whenever they get Barnes from the second Shadow Essence, I mean, that's brilliant, right? That's absolutely brilliant. But as the game went on, and this guy plays Ysera, and I couldn't deal with it, apart from a Psychic Scream, but I didn't want to Psychic Scream just Ysera. I wanted more value. So I played Benedictus, and the great thing about Benedictus is that it made me become a Big Priest. I stole my opponent's deck. So Yasharaj into statue, pretty good. Pretty good. You've also got Shadow Reaper Anduin in this matchup, which can really help against the big threats that they play. But take a look at this lethal here. This is absolutely disgusting. absolutely disgusting. He got 3 nightmare cards from Ysera. 3. What happened to getting Laughing Sisters, for crying out loud? Oh dear. Anyway. This next game is against a hunter. Now, when you face hunters on the wild mode ladder at this rank, what do you expect? You expect Spell Hunter with Barnes Yashraj? You expect Secret Hunter, perhaps? With Subject 9? But my opponent here, he's playing Mech Hunter, and that is certainly a rarity. So, coining out the Mistress here, normally I'd want to consider saving the coin, but here I want to contest his 1-2, because I know that if he plays a mech, it's going to get buffed up. So the idea being that on my next turn I could trade in and kill it, but he has a weapon, and that's really good for him. So this is a race. This is a race to play Death Rattle minions, complete the quest, and then you win the game. It's that simple. Hence why I played a minion there, and not the Shadow Visions. Because I know that he can kill my minion with his weapon, but I value the card draw, and I value getting another Death Rattle minion played to be one step closer to completing the quest. So, there were no minions in his hand. That's interesting. And hopefully here the rat does its job, and it is doing its job. It's absorbed 2 attacks. That's pretty good. Shredder placement there, highly questionable. And again, just valuing playing the Death Rattle minions, getting closer to completing that quest. Lots of damage here, lots of damage going to my face. So, Shadow Word Pain seems sensible on a minion that's got Divine Shield and Taunt. Just trying to take away as much damage from this board as possible. That Shredder is very, very problematic. We still have 3 more Death Rattle minions to play to complete the quest. And we have 2 in hand, so we just may as well do this. 1 more Death Rattle minion left. Just need to draw it. But the damage output here from this hunter is pretty nuts. Wow, this guy is just not stopping. And we're sitting precariously at 4 health here, but Spirit Lash is a massive, massive top deck. The problem is, we can't kill that Shredder. The 2 damage Spirit Lash is reliant on Blood Mage Thalnos being on the board. We can't kill that Shredder, and that's really annoying. So, the best thing to do is just take the other 2 minions off the board, and that includes popping that Death Rattle. Okay, so we get Benedictus. That's not terribly helpful here. That needed to be another Death Rattle minion. Wow, and there's 9 damage plus the hero power there. We have no choice but to Psychic Scream that. Still waiting on that Death Rattle minion, and we could just be dead at any point now.
I am ready.
Well, thankfully that wasn't a quick shot. And we have a choice between Shadow-Wed Pain and Spirit Lash here. Spirit Lash on one minion feels bad, but maybe at this point I actually value the +1 heal from it. Maybe that would be relevant in some way. I'm not sure. So, Shadow-Wed Pain, really good there against that minion. So, thank God we didn't use it last turn. But Dirty Rat, that's going to be a bit of a barrier that we can put in the way. Shadow Reaper Anduin's also a consideration here, but I'd rather have the option to heal my face as opposed to playing Anduin. Because once I play Anduin, my hero power becomes damage dealing. I can't heal. So maybe what I need is 2 or 3 more turns of just healing my face before I can consider playing Anduin. Okay, and there's the final Death Rattle minion that's needed. And we get the quest completed, finally.
You are safe now.
And according to Amara, we're safe now. I believe we are. At 40 health, there's going to be nothing he could do to win this game. Two taunts on the board. Benedictus. Just because we can. And it's game over. That was a really satisfying win against this hunter. We were able to survive and to outlast his damage. And that's where the strength of the deck lies, against sort of hyper-aggressive decks like this, which play, at least initially, minions that are small in stature, and that trade well against your early Death Rattle minions. So, yeah, pretty sweet. So, what do I think of this deck? I've lost more games than I've won with it, I'll be absolutely honest with you. But then again, I'm not as good of a player as RenoJackson is. And as I say, you know, he's piloted this deck through Legend rank. For me, I've struggled against Even Shaman, I've struggled against Big Priest. So, is this a deck that I'd want to continue playing on the Wild Mode ladder? From a fun factor, absolutely yes. This deck is different. It's fun. It's really interesting. From the point of view of trying to win against what is currently in the meta, Druid has pretty much disappeared, I think, and as a result you're seeing a lot of Even Shamans, but in particular you're seeing a lot of Big Priests. I had at one point today 4 games in a row against just Big Priests, and yeah, you can struggle against Big Priest with this deck. It can be very problematic, but I would recommend that you read RenoJackson's guide on Hearthstone. It's a very detailed guide, and he talks about the best way to tackle Big Priest with this deck, the things you should do, the things you shouldn't do. I probably did a few things in this video that you shouldn't do, but maybe I need to read his guide a bit more carefully. So, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop me a subscribe. I would be grateful. And I'll see you all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.